Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for the March 21st, 2022 Stanley County Board of Commissioner meeting. I'd like to open tonight's meeting with the invocation and pledge of allegiance. I'd like to ask Commissioner Lane Furr, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let's bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to praise your name. We also come to you for your hand to help heal the hurt in the Ukraine and bless the children, for they don't know what's happened to their homes and their lives. We also ask that you bless the health department and the workers that has worked so hard to help us through this pandemic. Please give us the knowledge to make the right decisions for this county and make it a better one. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Furr, fellow commissioners, and those of you in the general public that took time to come out tonight. We appreciate it. Glad to have you guys here. First item on tonight's agenda is public comment. Well, actually, hold on before I do that. First item on tonight's agenda is to approve the agenda. So, commissioners, you guys have it before you. I'd like to seek a motion to approve it.
So moved.
Motion by Vice Chairman Almond, second.
Second.
By Commissioner Eford. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Our agenda is approved. Item number 1 is public comment. And the only thing I have right here now is a Mr. Rodney Turner from Baden.
Yeah.
Come on up, sir. You're the only member on tonight's public comments. I would just ask you to come up to the mic and please keep your comments to less than 3 minutes.
How you doing? My name is Rodney Turner. In last summer, as of May 2nd, 2021, my children, 8-year-old children, Kingston Rodney Turner and Kennedy Victoria Turner, they called 911 from their home in Baton. The mom was abusing them. The mom was hitting, holding my son down in the bed, choking him, holding his face down in the bed. One of your county workers, Mandy Llewellyn, advised their mother to put cameras up in their home because I filed a complaint of child abuse and neglect. One of your workers, Mandy Llewellyn, advised her to put cameras up in the home. That night, they found my children being abused. My children called me. I pulled up on 2 Albemarle police officers and showed them what was happening inside the home. I caught him at the bowling alley so that he could witness it. I then went to Baton, to the home it was happening at. When I got there, Officer Moen threatened to arrest me just for checking on my children because I wanted to file another complaint. Well, this goes to DSS of Stanley County. DSS workers came out initially, spoke to my children, said they did not need to be with their mother unsupervised. When Mandy Llewellyn got that case, she completely ignored my children's cries. She completely ignored me. She wanted to ask me about why I don't want my 8-year-old daughter wearing weave instead of asking me what is going on. I had video evidence of my children explaining to me what had been happening. She refused to listen to it, refused to speak to my children, rushed my children to the Butterfly House without even interviewing me, without interviewing any of my collaterals, my father, their school, their principal, their teachers, anything. Mandy Llewellyn and the Butterfly House concocted a report and had my children taken away from me. They didn't investigate. Mandy Llewellyn has committed perjury and testified that she completed a 2-week investigation, and upon completing this 2-week investigation, she had my children taken away from me. Now, this is public record. Now, I've spoken to the county manager about it, which he won't email me back again. I've spoken to Dolly Clayton about it, which is DSS director. She refused to speak to me about a child being abused. Now, I just heard everybody pray and hold a prayer about victims in another country. But my children were victimized right here in Stanley County, and it has been blatantly disregarded. Their cries, I have them right here crying, but I didn't even play it tonight because
Rodney.
nobody's been listening.
What are you hoping that this board can help you do?
What I'm hoping that this board can help me with is they could lie and commit perjury on the stand to have my children taken from me. They should write a sworn affidavit and say that that's a lie. And Mandy Llewellyn does not need to be working with children. Mandy Llewellyn does not need to be working with children. So
I would be glad as just a commissioner to try to meet with you at maybe sometimes we could talk to you on the phone about it, but this board as a whole, as a body, has no kind of authority over DSS.
well, who do I need to speak to? Who has authority?
That was a question that I was about to try and direct to County Manager Lucas. County Manager Lucas, could you?
Yeah, and we've met with Mr. Rodney before. We've had plenty of conversations. David.
No.
Yes,
You
sir.
met
I
with me on
with you.
Friday.
Rodney, let him talk, sir.
He met with you on a Friday.
Yes.
You talked to Dolly Clayton. We've given you the number at the state to call to make a
I've
complaint.
called and made a
That
complaint
is,
with the
that is
state.
who you, that is what you need to do, is you need to take.
Mr. Rodney, I've literally been kind of sort of in your shoes at one point in time
Okay.
in the past, but
Quick question. Is Stanley County, so Stanley County will continue to have a social worker will continue to have a social worker on the payroll who will take the stand and commit perjury.
Ms. Turner,
and that
this
is
is
against
not a
the law.
courtroom for doing that.
But
This is
that
a
is
Board of
against the
Commissioners
law.
meeting.
That's against the law.
I understand that. I'm trying to be respectful and polite
That's
here,
fine,
but this
that's
is a
fine.
commissioners
I'll be
meeting.
here every Monday until something is done. Since we're worried about children,
I will be glad to talk to you myself. I'm not going to tie up this board's
that's
time on
fine.
it.
I'll
but
be here every Monday until then. Until then. Because you just had a prayer
I'll be glad to
about
reach out to you and talk to you, Ms. Turner, but this board
That's
itself
fine.
can't do
Well,
anything.
nobody
But I
has
will.
been listening to me. That's why I'm
I
in here
understand.
speaking in front of this board.
I understand, Ms. Turner.
No, nobody
I will
has
call
Yes,
you.
we have listened.
Nobody's
We're trying to give you
listened
the
to me.
resource that you need.
Nobody's listening.
Okay, hey,
Dolly didn't listen to me, and you haven't listened.
that's enough.
Sure, that's not true.
Enough is the children being
Sir,
abused.
if you speak up one more time, I will have you escorted out of this building.
I'm coming back every Monday.
Thank you, Deputy. All right, I'm going to call that into public comments. Next item on tonight's agenda is the Hardaway Museum presentation and the resolution of support. Our presenter on that is Ms. Candace Louder.
Good evening, Chairman and members of the board. Thank you for allowing us to come in front of you this evening. If you'll give me just a minute to get the,
Don't start nothing tonight now. All right.
I'll do my
That was my one for the day, ma'am.
I'll do my best. Let's see. And pray the password worked, and it did. All right. I come before you tonight at the request of the Baden Museum located in our wonderful town of Baden. The museum and its partners are on the cusp of a really exciting project around the Hardaway archaeological site that's located on land previously owned by Alcoa and was donated to the state of North Carolina and Morrow Mountain State Park in 2020. Joining me tonight is Ms. Carol Tingley. If I may ask Carol to join me. Carol is recently retired from a long and successful career with the state park system. She became interested in the Hardaway site when Alcoa proposed to donate it to Morrow Mountain back in several years ago. Now she's working with a volunteer for the town of Baden and other stakeholding groups to help make the Hardaway Museum a reality. The PowerPoint presentation she's going to provide to you tonight is included in your meeting packets. I have an additional handout that I will provide to you when she starts speaking as well. I would like to turn it over to Carol, Chairman, if that's all right with you. The Baden Museum respectfully requests that after you see this presentation, you'll consider adopting the resolution of support for the project. I'll turn it over to Carol. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us a few minutes tonight. I'm representing an enthusiastic working group, of which several of the members are here. We are working on a museum in Baden focused on the Hardaway archaeological site. And this site is one of the most significant in the southeastern United States, right here in Stanley County. Not only is it very old, more than 12,000 years ago, long before the Egyptian pyramids were built, but it was occupied by American Indians for thousands of years, and so the layers that archaeologists were able to excavate created a chronology of artifacts that is used by archaeologists all over the place still today. So we have a site that illustrates the history and culture of the earliest American Indians and also represents the foundations of the science of archaeology. As Candace mentioned, the site was owned and managed by Alcoa for many years. In 2005, they generously donated nearly 2 million artifacts to UNC, and just in 2020, they donated the land itself to Morrow Mountain State Park. So the next thing is we need to convey this information to the public, create a way to continue the protection and study of this nationally significant site, and educate the public about North Carolina's earliest inhabitants. Now, luckily, Baden is located in the central part of the state, easily accessible from the major urban areas and universities, great location for field trips at both the college and high school level, and a great tourist opportunity that builds on the idea of this as North Carolina's Central Park. The town of Baden has identified an available and convenient location where this museum could be built, and they had an architect create a concept that showed that this location is feasible. The idea is to incorporate retail and dining areas, meeting spaces, and event spaces so that the revenue would help support the museum itself, as well as create an activity for people to do in Baden. So we're looking at an attractive and educational museum for tourists and school groups and a resource for continued archaeological study. Now, the state of North Carolina has a major history museum in Raleigh, but that history museum also has several regional museums that they manage under an umbrella. Most of these are on the coast, and there's one in Fayetteville and one way out in Old Fort. There is no regional history museum in the middle of the state, and none of these are focused on American Indians as a theme or archaeology as a theme. So the idea is the Baden Hardaway Museum would fit right into the state structure of history museums. Obviously, we're looking at, raising the money and doing the design and the construction. We've been talking about an advisory committee of experts, archaeologists, and other people that would help design the exhibits and help with the fundraising. In the short term, we are looking for an appropriation from the General Assembly, and we need to persuade the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources to undertake this as a regional history museum. So support from the county commissioners would definitely help with both of those two objectives, and that's where I'll turn it back over to Candace for a potential resolution.
Any questions for Ms. Tingley?
Fellow commissioners?
I just want to say that's a wonderful thing, and the folks in Baden, y'all have always done a great job. The citizens doing things for the community over there, and also for Stanley County and bringing people to Stanley County to visit your wonderful town. And that would be a wonderful thing. That could bring people from all throughout the world.
Do they have any idea what a facility like this would cost? That's probably a pie in the sky question at this point. I'm just mildly curious.
Well, the architect that did the concept estimated about 12 million. That's just for the building itself, so it would be more for the exhibits. And of course, inflation is going up, so by the time we do it, it'll probably be more than that. But that's the ballpark, maybe 15 million.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just a quick comment, Mr. Chairman. You know, I grew up around Baden and went kayaking down at Falls Reservoir about every weekend. And, you know, I didn't even know about the Hardaway site's significance till I went to college and took archaeology. And it's the largest site of the Neolithic. And it's just a shame that, you know, folks around here don't realize the significance of it.
Commissioner Lawhon?
Yeah, question, I know you're talking about the cost. Have you had any business approached that might pledge significant dollars for it? Or-
Alcoa, as well as several other major companies, have expressed interest. This is actually a project of statewide interest, and there may even be federal money available because it's focused on American Indians. So in addition to the appropriation from the General Assembly, we do plan to do private fundraising and possibly federal grants.
The Willie D. room is a possibility, is what she's saying. Thank you, ladies. I don't have any more questions. We appreciate your time very much. Thank you, ma'am. Do we need an action on this board's behalf? Pardon me before I say anything else. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt the resolution and support it.
We have a motion to adopt a resolution to support the efforts being made by Vice Chairman Almond,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Lawhon. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? There you go, ladies. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you very much for your presentation and your time. Next item on the agenda is the 2022 Public Health Week Proclamation. It's the Debbie Bennett Show.
Thank you for the opportunity to come before you tonight. I love public health. My name is Debbie Bennett, and I am a public health educator too with the Stanley County Health Department. And today I get to read to you a proclamation. I know the excitement in your system now just can't stand it. But I will try to keep you awake throughout this whole process. But I will allow anybody next to you to gently jab you if you fall asleep while I read this lengthy proclamation. Whereas, get ready for a lot of whereases. Whereas the Stanley County Public Health workforce is a critical component of our emergency response to natural and to man-made disasters and widespread disease outbreaks in our county, including COVID-19. And whereas our county and state public health workers have been courageous, inventive, and tireless in their work to protect our citizens from the threats of the COVID-19 pandemic, while continuing to perform their other essential public health functions, often at times at the risk of their own safety and health. And whereas public health measures to control and eliminate infectious diseases, improve environmental sanitation, and promote healthy lifestyle practices have been the greatest cause of improved health status and increased life expectancy for the residents of our county and all North Carolina residents. And whereas public health plays a critical role advancing health equity and preventing chronic diseases and injuries, resulting in improved productivity and decreased health care costs for all North Carolinians. And whereas the Stanley County Board of Commissioners, y'all get to have part of this too, is committed to a continued emphasis on prevention in public health and to helping our county and all North Carolina reach a better state of health through actions outlined in the Healthy North Carolina 2030 objectives. And whereas communities, local health departments, employers, hospitals, and healthcare providers, individuals and families, insurers, county leaders and policymakers, faith-based communities and schools and child care facilities, we all must work together to identify and develop innovative solutions to the health problems facing the people of Stanley County. And whereas the Stanley County Board of Commissioners encourages all residents to recognize that public health is working to ensure that all residents are protected from threats such as COVID-19, influenza, foodborne illness, injury, chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, and asthma. And we're up to our last whereas. Whereas April 4th through the 10th, 2022, that week has been designated as National Public Health Week. Now, therefore, we, the members of the Stanley County Board of Commissioners in regular session, do hereby unanimously proclaim that April 4th through 10th, 2022 shall be designated as Public Health Week in Stanley County, and commend its observance to all county residents and convey our deepest gratitude to those public health professionals who serve our county every day. And I thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you, Miss Debbie. I'd like someone to very animatedly, unanimously hereby proclaim that April 4th, 10th, 10 through 2022 is Public Health Week.
I wholeheartedly make a motion that we.
Unanimously? All by yourself?
Unanimously.
Yeah.
Unanimous.
Does he put that here? Commissioner Furr, do you have something to add? Okay. We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Shudo, a second by Commissioner Furr. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes 7-0. Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure as always. Where'd you go? There you are.
If I can make a.
See you behind the mask, literally.
If I can make a quick comment, when I first was elected county commissioner back in 2012, I was on the health board, and I think it was the library board, but I've always enjoyed the enthusiasm that you put into this job, and I just want to thank all the healthcare workers here in Stanley County over the last 2 years, because it's been a struggle, because going through your proclamations reminder, you had other duties that you still had to do during that time. And while people were home and quarantine and stuff like that, y'all were still out there trying to figure out how to help save people and to keep them safe. So I'll pass along and go back to the health department tomorrow that we appreciate everything that you guys do, and especially we appreciate you coming to us and keeping us informed.
Okay, moving on. The next item on tonight's agenda is the Stanley County Water and Sewer Capital Plan. Mr. Dwayne Wingo.
Thank you, sirs. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We had covered this at the retreat previously, outlaying the 5, 10, 20-year capital plan for water and the 5-year for sewer. I can put the maps on the screen, but you do all have a copy of the maps so to look at. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover it as briefly as I can here so that y'all can, hopefully adopt or recommend adoption of the plans. Stanley County Utilities and Chambers Engineering has completed the 2022 water and sewer, it's a capital plan, and has made the modifications requested by the Stanley County Board of Commissioners at the February 18, 2022 retreat. This included water main extensions on Swift Road, Tyson Road, and Coley Store Road. The primary capital improvement in the 5-year planning horizon for the water capital plan is a transmission main interconnect from Locust to Millenport and Highway 73. The water capital plan, again, was done for a 5, 10, and 20-year outlay because it was a lot easier to do that based on the roadways which the water mains run, and we know which areas we need to go to. The 2022 sewer master plan was done only on a 5-year planning horizon, with the primary capital improvements being the West Stanley 2.5 wastewater treatment plant expansion project, a sewer collection system project to hopefully serve the town of Red Cross and some areas Beyond that, working toward the Locust area and the replacement of the West Baden pump station and a gravity line directly connecting to it. Staff has attached also a fairly lengthy executive summary, which will further explain some of the minutia of the 2022 water and sewer capital plans, along with the mapping and associated cost estimates. Staff is requesting the board review the 2022 water and sewer capital plan and adopt the plan so as we can begin a contract with the Wooten Company to implement system development fees come fiscal year 22-23. With that said, I guess, repeat myself, staff does recommend the adoption of the 5, 10, and 20-year 2022 capital plan for water and the 2022 Stanley County 5-year capital plan for the sewer.
Thank you, Mr. Wingo. For those of you in the public that don't know, we had a very long, detailed version of this back at the retreat a couple days back. So this is all kind of fresh in our minds. Fellow commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Wingo?
Mr. Chair,
Chairman Allen?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the 5, 10, and 20-year 2022 Stanley County Water Capital Water Plan, and the 2022 Stanley County 5-year sewer capital.
We have a motion to adopt both by Vice Chairman Alman, a second by Commissioner Eford. Any further discussion from Commissioner? Commissioner Lawhon, go ahead. Oh, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, appreciate your time, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Next item on tonight's agenda is the consent agenda. You commissioners have got that in your packet. You should have had time to look through it. If nobody has any questions on it, the chair would like to entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Moved by Vice Chairman Almond. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lawhon. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. That is it for the formal agenda. I'm going to begin this time on my left with Commissioner Shudo for commissioner comments.
Okay, just real quick update. On Thursday, I went to the Rocky River Rural Planning Organizational meeting down in Polkton. And it's a pretty good meeting. I mean, they were talking about, one thing, grants and bicycle and pedestrian trails and the Carolina Thread Trail. Now that's important for the region, about the grants and proper ways to apply for it. And they're saying there's so much money left on the table with grants because people just don't apply for them. And they said the other mistake is that at the beginning of every grant, they pretty much tell you what they want. You get 20% of it is for this, that, and it's just amazing how many people just don't read the instructions and submit a good project, but it doesn't go for what they're asking for. And then a quick update on some of the projects. They're still moving forward on Highway 73 up in Millenport and putting a 4-way stop on Highway 73. And they said the biggest complaint they get about that, the people say, well, that's such a heavily traveled road. I think they said, don't quote me on the numbers, but I think they said that road's built for like 13,000 vehicles a day and they get 6,500. So there's a lot of growth out there. But they have struggled with what to do at that intersection of, I think it's Millenport Road and 73, because there's not real estate there to put a roundabout and the super highway, what's that called? The super highway with the thing in the middle. So look for a 4-way stop to be coming most likely sometime this year. And that's just it's just a weird intersection, especially with the gas station there. It's more than a 4-way intersection. With the gas station, it's probably about a 6 or 7-way, the way the cars.
I've lived there for 12 years. It's no problem. You drive straight, you turn right, you turn left.
Yeah.
It ain't complicated.
Oh, I know, but people go all over. But anyway, they've had a lot of accidents there. But anyway, that's what's new from them.
Commissioner Barbie.
I'd like to thank the North Carolina Farm Bureau for putting on a little forum the other night. I got to meet a lot of nice people and speak a little bit, and I get an opportunity for everybody to speak, so I want to thank them for putting that on.
Thank you, Commissioner Barbie. Commissioner,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been called a lot worse. I forgot what I was going to say. Last Thursday night, I attended the Partners Mental Health Board that I'm on for you guys that put me on that. I appreciate it. But a lot of information given on the new plans, the tailored plan, and some of the other plans that's coming out to help those that really need help. And Tyler sends you a email. Usually it's the day after our minutes and some of our presentations, so I'd be happy for you guys to take a look at that. And if you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer it.
I get that email, but then I'll wait for you to tell me if there's anything important I need to know about it. Otherwise, I just read on and keep going.
Thank you very much.
Vice Chairman Almond?
No comment tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Lawhon?
I'm like Commissioner Barbie. I really appreciate the Farm Bureau, North Carolina Farm Bureau, putting on a candidate forum. And I look forward to the GOP forum, which will happen in late April. Last week, I learned of a good friend of mine who is a former commissioner, Josh Morton. A lot of you may know what I'm getting ready to say, but Josh was diagnosed with a tumor on his pancreas that had spread also to his liver. And I'm asking that any citizens that know Josh seems to be in as good a spirit as you could possibly be with that diagnosis, but keep Josh in your prayers and his family in your prayers for days ahead, and I'm gonna wish the best for Josh, and hopefully he can fight it and see what happens. But thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Lawhon. Commissioner Furr?
I'd kind of like just to write in on the shirt tails of what they said about the Farm Bureau, and then also thank them for having us there and feeding us a fine meal. Thank you very much.
I don't think I'm going to bother to send it to echo any more sentiments. All of us thought the same thing, so that covers that. I don't have anything new for myself tonight. Nothing new I can think of. So if there's nothing else, I would like to seek a motion to adjourn. A motion by Vice Chairman Almond.
Second.
Second by everybody. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.